When the apocalypse rolled round, I thought I'd have the skills to survive. Turns out, being able to name every Pokemon and speedrun Cuphead aren't actually useful skills in the world of Overland. So, what do you do when your home becomes infested with aliens and life falls apart? You run. My journey began when I pulled up to a small, run-down block on the East Coast. The first thing I noticed was the dog trapped behind some junk. The second thing was the creature at the end of the street. It was small, but I got the impression I should try and do my best to keep away from it, which was going to be tricky because it seemed to be drawn to noise. So began a tango of sorts as the creature and I took turns moving. I realised I could move 2 steps at a time, whereas it could only move 1. That gave me the chance to try and put some distance between us while I worked out how to move the rubble and free the trapped canine. I grabbed a wooden pallet to use as a shield and a stick that I quickly turned against the creepy crawler gaining ground on me, which, it turns out, brings more to the surface. But it wasn't all bad news, because I rescued the dog, Pep, who became my companion. Between us and our car, we had 4 measly inventory spaces that, when we were close enough, we could pass things between. So whatever we found while scavenging, we had to make sure we actually needed. Things like medical supplies and petrol, yes. Books and toys, probably not. At one point, we came across a friendly trader who wanted mine and Pep's only first aid kit in exchange for one of 4 items. Would those things come in handy later? Probably, but I couldn't risk either of us getting hurt down the track and not having a med kit to take care of it. In that moment, I made a choice and just hoped that whatever came next, we could handle it. Speaking of which, traveling at night, not a great time. It's dark and spooky, and without the flashlight that I didn't get from the nice trader, I couldn't see more than a few paces in front of me. What I was able to see, though, was a new kind of creature. Bigger, more tentacly, and able to move 2 paces at a time like me. To make matters worse, one of them had attacked a generator, which caused it to explode and start a grass fire. This did bring to light, though, another person, an armed person carrying a lot of fuel. This wasn't like when I met Pep. I wasn't given the option to befriend this man or invite him into my party, and we really needed that petrol. Don't judge me. A few days later, we came across another injured man named Howard trapped behind a roadblock. I got him free, invited him into my party, and we were on our way. Turns out, though, that the van was not durable enough to withstand a head-on collision and exploded, ending Howard's time with us early. Luckily, we were able to find a new car. But I was caught off guard by one of the tentacle creatures and forced to attack it to save my own skin. Until I could heal up, I was stuck moving 1 space at a time. Even more reason to avoid any contact with anything or anyone that could hurt me or Pep. So when we came to the next stop and saw another survivor, I chose to leave them behind. I learned my lesson. You've got to look out for number 1 and number 1's furry friend. And over the next few days, I followed this practice to the letter. Get in, identify threats, split up to cover maximum ground, grab what we needed, and then get out. But I did notice strange things were happening. A high-pitched hum would sound and knock the creatures unconscious, or they'd flee underground as the shadow of a ship passed overhead. Oh, and then there was the time a washing machine fell from the sky. I had no idea what was happening, but it only fueled my determination to get to the bottom of this mystery, which was easier said than done. The further out we travelled, the more enemies we came across, and the more my mistakes mattered. Leaving behind a weapon I'd dropped to get fuel to the car. Helping a stranger only for him to then steal said car. Letting Pep and I get separated. I won't lie, that hurt me a lot. All those errors in judgment led me to this. Less than fantastic outcome. All alone, with no way to heal myself, outnumbered by an army, and too slow to outrun them. So, here I am, waiting for them to find me. Overall, Not the best ending to a road trip, knowing there was so much more I could have done if I'd just made smarter choices. But hey, I can't say the trip was ever dull. With so many possibilities to consider every time I stepped into a new location, I never felt like I was just going through the motions, but instead trying to think 2 steps ahead. And for all its horrors, Overland is beautiful in its own way and really does make you feel like a survivor in an unforgiving world. Well, these are gonna be my last words. Might as well make them good ones. So, how about 5 out of 5 rubber chickens? Here they come. Be safe out there.